Before I start, I want to ask you all something. With a raise of hands, how many of you have given up on something that you loved? Whether that be your favorite instrument, your favorite hobby, or maybe even a sport that you once liked playing. Not because you stopped loving it, but because you were told that you needed to focus. At some point in life, many of us are asked to trade curiosity for clarity. And every time someone told me to focus, they meant the exact same thing. Pick one thing, zoom in, be singular, and go with it. And for a long time, I thought that's how focus works. But the more I tried to narrow myself, the more I tried to push myself into one thing, the less certain I felt. That is because I thought that all different parts of me never existed in isolation. There's a phrase that we grow up hearing, sometimes as advice and often as warning: Jack of all trades, master of none. It's said with so much concern, as if curiosity is something that you're supposed to outgrow, or as if depth only comes when you abandon certain parts of yourself. And I actually internalized that because I thought that's how focus works, right? On paper, my life looks very organized, very neat. A leadership camp at Harvard, a state gold medal in Kathak, straight A's, perfect sevens, singer in a band, community service, leadership, research in neuroscience and mathematics, and so much more. But apparently, the common app thinks that I wake up every day as one single noun, as if my identity works like a drop down menu. And people were so kind about it. They called me well rounded. But that kindness came with a follow question. So, Naisha, what's it going to be? So, what are you going to choose finally? What are you going to streamline into? I've heard it from multiple counselors, from multiple teachers, and even the little voice at the back of my mind. You're doing too much. You have too much on your plate. And I remember sitting with my IBDP selection form, staring at it longer than I should have. Not because I didn't know what I loved, but because I loved too many things at once. And strange to say that this confusion never existed in the places where I learned the most. My first learning did not happen in a classroom. It happened in my Kathak dance studio. When we travel 8 years back, we see small Naisha, the Naisha who had gotten her first pair of ghungroos, who was so excited to dance. And to me, Kathak has not just been constricted to dance. For me, it's storytelling, it's devotion, it's grace, it's rhythm, it's movement, all happening at the same time. And my guru never told me to cut out on the footwork so that my facial expressions could be better, or to cut out on the lay and tal and focus more on my hasta mudras. And that is because of one fundamental concept. Kathak doesn't work by subtraction. It works in coherence. And I was learning something far more important than choreography. I was learning how my brain actually processes and actually works, and how it has been focused all along. Years later, when I step into the academic space, I thought that my identities will be different. Kathak Naisha and Artsy Naisha on one side, and the nerdy Naisha on the other. But instead of switching these identities, I saw repetitive patterns. The timing that I had trained for in Kathak showed up in neural oscillations in brain waves when I was researching, and the structures that once echoed in math, like the Fibonacci series, showed up in my lay and tal. And discipline shaped me into who I am right now. And the answer finally revealed itself. I hadn't been unfocused. I'd just been integrating all along. There's something that my mom says. When you stand too close to a painting, all you're going to see is brush strokes or maybe a little varnish. But when you take a big step back, that is when the bigger picture finally reveals. It all comes together. And at the end of the day, we have to understand that we're humans. We're not ChatGPT prompts. We don't work better or produce better when we're reduced or simplified. And the change actually came when I stopped asking what parts of myself do I need to remove and started asking how do these parts work together in coherence and how do these build up to shape the Naisha she is standing here today. And that is what being unmasked means to me. Not a rejection of rebellion and not a rejection of discipline, but honesty. Pure honesty about how my brain actually works and how it has been focusing all along. So I come back to something that I started with. Because you see, ironically, a deck of cards doesn't have one jack. It has 4, each with a different suit, a different strength, a different value, and 2 different colors. But same name. So the phrase doesn't end at Jack of all trades, master of none. It continues to go on to Jack of all trades, master of none, oftentimes better than master of one. Thank you.